Well, we're so happy that you're here with us today. I always forget to introduce people, so I want to introduce Lori Saitz, the CEO of Zen Rabbit, an award-winning writer, speaker, and broadcaster, and a nationally recognized expert in using gratitude and meditation to manifest goals faster. So I'm really happy to meet you and talk a little bit about gratitude and growing your business with gratitude and finding your purpose. You have a lot of commonalities with what we work on as well. And
yeah, I'm thrilled to be here.
Charles Betterton, he's my co-creator and co-producer and co-everything. So, and he's in Chicago and I am in Independence, Kentucky. So.
Okay.
And where are you, Lori?
Cool. I'm in Northern Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C.
I lived in Charlottesville for a while, worked in the district for a while, so I love Virginia.
I love Virginia.
Yeah.
So we're excited to have you here. Tell us a little bit about Zen Rabbit. I read your story about when you were a child. You had the rabbit, and I think it was so touching. I love that story. You know, it has such a nice history behind it.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about why you're passionate about doing what you do.
Yeah, well, I'm on this mission to teach the world to be calm and grounded no matter what's going on around them. So, and what drives me is really that idealistic view of what the world could look like if everybody was coming from this place. If everybody could stand in their own power, and that's not power over anyone else, it's power over your own thoughts and feelings and responses, and come from this place of groundedness in making choices. What would the world look like if we could all do that?
It would be a wonderful place. I mean, yeah, it really would
be very different than it is today.
Yeah. So how do you show people how to be grounded? Is that something you teach through meditation or mindfulness?
Part of it is meditation. I have a program that you may have seen on the website too. And I didn't ask what your rating here is because of the name of my program, but we'll just call it F being fine.
Yeah.
And within that program, I have a foundation, a framework called the Trilogy for Success. And that trilogy is gratitude, connections, and courage. And when I talk about connections, that's really where I fit in that piece of meditation, the connection to yourself. And if you're so inclined, to your higher power.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, me too. How did we wait so long for this connection? Right?
Everything happens in exactly the right time.
That's what Leslie keeps telling me.
I love that. Yeah. I think most people are not used to connecting with themselves. I think I see a lot I saw something about the Catholic Church promoting mindfulness, and I thought, oh, how wonderful. And then I saw so many people with negative comments saying, pray, mindfulness is woo-hoo and all this stuff. And I thought, that's just not that's not how I look at it. I don't understand how somebody could misconstrue it so much. That is such a beautiful practice. And really, we should teach everyone how to go within and connect with whatever they connect with. They can call it whatever they want to call it, no judgment for anything.
Right. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I spend a lot of time in my workshops and presentations and things, is talking about the myths and misconceptions around what meditation or mindfulness is.
Mm-hmm.
And because prayer is a form of meditation.
Yeah.
It was Wayne Dyer who had the quote that prayer is us talking to God and intuition is God talking to us.
Love that. Yeah. And I think most people, if you talk about spirit, to me, spirit is everywhere. Mm-hmm. You really don't need to do much to connect with it. You need to have an intention and maybe quiet your mind a little bit, maybe breathe deeply, but really it's not a complicated process and you can get answers back. You just have to remember to ask and remember to speak to hey, I need help. That's what, I need angels help or whatever. They're not going to help you unless you actually reach out and ask for it. So I think people don't realize that.
The second piece to that is being open to receiving the answer.
Yeah.
And I think that is even more difficult for most people because they ask and then they don't necessarily expect to receive an answer, or they're not getting it in the form that they would like, or it's not immediate enough. So they think that it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And being open to that, this is one of those things that you can't force.
Right.
And I've been guilty of this myself. We live in this society that we need to make things happen. And this is not about making things happen. This is about allowing.
There's a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's a matter of clearing that channel to be able to receive the message and know that that is truly the message and not a message that's coming from outside. Because again, in our society where our minds are so filled with input from social media, traditional media, family, friends, all these outside forces who want us to act in accordance with their motives and not necessarily our highest good. And so getting clear enough to hear that inner voice and to get in touch with and allow that response to come through, that's the real work.
Yeah, I really love that, just that whole allowing and receiving. And it may not seem like a message from spirit. It may be a sentence or a title that you hear in your mind and you're thinking, why do I keep hearing that? I don't know where that's coming from. And to me, that's coming from spirit. And you just have to recognize that, oh, that's what I asked for, even if it's a few days ago. It may not be immediate. I'm sure they have other things to do besides, listen to Leslie's request every day. But,
well, again, I think it comes back to being open to hearing it. So that message may come to you in several different forms and you hear one of them.
That's
it could
true.
Be through a song or through a comment somebody else makes, or like you said, you just have a phrase that shows up in your head.
I think the graduate level of that is allowing and accepting when it's totally outside the realm of what you were secretly hoping the answer would be, right?
Yes.
In our
That's a good one.
Leslie and I took a 1914 book called How to Attract Success by F.W. Sears and repurposed it with new content, a couple of new chapters that Leslie created. And it's really about the art of allowance, right? Mm-hmm. We called it harmonious attraction, but worked allowance into the subtitle there. So right on, keep on going. I'm looking at the list of, the suggested questions, we need you. Gratitude. How's that the key to operating an enterprise, a business, a family or community?
Well, a gratitude, as you probably know, is the highest energetic vibration you can get to. It's equivalent to love and, could be considered the same thing. So from a scientific standpoint of energy, working and operating out of this place of gratitude is going to make you attractive to all the good things, let's say. And good is, it's a judgment because we could get into a whole discussion around what's good, what's bad.
Yeah.
But operating from this place of finding gratitude in every situation, you're always going to find what you're looking for. And so if you're looking for things to be grateful for, you're recognizing things that you already have in your life that you are grateful for, then you are naturally attracting more of that to you. The converse is also true. If you're looking for things to be criticizing and complaining about, more of those will show up in your life as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I know as humans, we have a negativity bias that psychology hasn't studied. And that's so interesting because we don't really want to be negative. Like it kind of goes back to maybe our caveman ancestry or whatever, but it's easier to think negatively and to criticize things than it is to say, stop. I'm going to take time every day, whether it's through prayer or whatever, you enjoy looking in with is I'm going to take time to be grateful. And that's kind of what Charles and I have been on a gratitude journey this last year, just sharing, blessings for every realm of life, 365 of them. And we just kind of started creating them and went crazy because they just kind of started flowing in from spirit to both of us. And, it's exciting when you really get that flow going and you can actually do something with it and use it as a practice, whether it's with meditation, prayer, whatever, mindfulness, whatever you use it with. I think that's such a great way. I'd love to know more about growing your business with gratitude. That's such an interesting concept.
Yeah. When I started my first business, back in 2003, I was making and marketing a product called the Gratitude Cookie. And the Gratitude Cookie was based on a family recipe, kind of a cross between a butter and a sugar cookie. And because I have a background in marketing, I was thinking about how can I market this product differently? So I wasn't setting out to be the next Mrs. Fields. And I packaged it and marketed it as a way for businesses to say thank you to their clients and to people who sent them referral sources.
Wow.
And customize the packaging with their logo and their colors and all that good stuff. So I started talking back then about the importance of using gratitude in business, not just, for clients and for people who sent you referrals, that makes sense. Although I did have a conversation one time with a woman who was like, well, if you're doing work for the client, of course they know they appreciate you. They're paying you. I'm like, not exactly.
Right.
No, I'm not going to get into an argument with you, but you cannot just assume in any relationship, business, personal, any relationship, assumption doesn't always get you the best results. So showing appreciation for clients, for one thing, it's good manners, right? Did you all have parents who made you write thank you notes after the holidays and your birthday? And
Oh, yeah.
Good manners. Secondly, it's a differentiating factor because so few businesses do it. And a lot of them now traditionally have done things around the holidays. They send, holiday gifts to all their clients to say thank you. And then everybody was doing it around the December holidays. So it got backed up to Thanksgiving. Now lots of people do it then. But what if you as a business person sent thank yous to clients or vendors or referral sources at a different time of year? What if you sent them in May or February, Valentine's? Hey, love having you as a client. That stands out because really nobody else is doing it that time. So from a business standpoint and from a marketing standpoint, you're using it as a differentiating factor. Mm-hmm. When you step back and look at saying thank you to people within an organization, your employees, your team members, your associates, are there really any people walking around these days who are going, no more appreciation for me, thanks, I'm full for today?
Yeah, not really.
They're not. And so if you could come and make somebody's day, this conversation is reminding me of way back in the day when I was in college. I was doing an internship, unpaid internship for a marketing agency. And every time that I was in the office before I would leave to go home, one of the principals of the agency would say, Lori, I really appreciate your help today. Thanks so much for stuffing those envelopes, whatever it was, writing that press release. And I wasn't getting paid, but he was acknowledging my efforts. And here I am a million years later talking about it because it made such an impact.
Yeah. Wow. That reminds me, our insurance agent, State Farm, sends birthday cards for all of us, sends Christmas cards, Thanksgiving, and they don't have to do that, but it just makes you think, oh, that's a nice thing to do. Then it's a handwritten note from the agent that, we're thinking of you, we care about you. And it's such a little thing, but if more places did that, I just think it just kind of changes the dynamic.
Absolutely. And you bring up a really good point, Leslie, in that it doesn't have to be something expensive.
Right.
It could be as simple as a handwritten note.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think businesses think in those terms. Yeah, go ahead, Charles.
I'm going to say, or you may not want to go into this now, but I'm looking for the sample. I want to hear the story. Why are we not helping you market the gratitude cookies 1 billion a day? You know?
Oh man. So I couldn't scale that business quite the way I wanted to. And I shut it down in 2014. And it keeps coming up. And the universe is going to have to bring me the absolute ideal situation to revive that business. Cause I said no, I said never again. Sold all the equipment. I sold all the packaging, everything. I would do it again, but it's got to be the absolute perfect situation to say yes to that.
Well,
That's a tough business. I mean, there's so much
It is.
competition.
It's not just the competition. It's when you're manufacturing a food product that doesn't have preservatives, still maybe 3 to 6 months shelf life. So not immediate, but it's not years. And you're talking about shipping it all over the world. And
Yeah.
Amazon has now trained everybody to expect to have overnight delivery for free.
Yeah.
And a business like mine couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Well, I worked for a marketing genius who was also a scoundrel. You know, he would research a prospect. You know, if they had a Mercedes, he'd create a display with their model of the Mercedes with their license plate on it. And he had a person whose primary job was just to go to Costco and get cases of water, strip off the label, and strip on a customized label that he'd made up for that prospect. But
Oh, wow.
he had no gratitude in him at all. It's like when you started answering that question about gratitude, you lit up even more than you have been since you came on the call, right? So it's so clear that you're coming from heart and sincerity, and it'll be fun to collaborate, play with you. And I'll share a story with both of you that evolved yesterday about indigenous peoples in another country that are creating a chocolate product, no sugars, funding going back to the world forest. And one of the partners that I'm working with had trademarked B Brand Earth. He's got a whole vision of branding the respect for nature. And it just came out of the blue yesterday. And it's like, when you talk peanut butter, what peanut butter and what?
The gratitude
Yeah,
cookies, it was a cross between a butter and a sugar cookie.
Yeah, well, I mean, you had me right there. So anyhow, we'll come back to that. So let's go to purpose, because you sold me on gratitude, and purpose is something that's one of our major titles is about fulfilling your life purpose. Of course, people have to know they might have one, and you put a little time and effort into discovering that, right?
Yeah, this is a topic that gets thrown around a lot. And people are always talking to me about purpose or asking, how do I find my purpose? And again, like this show sponsored by Amazon, no kidding. But people expect it to show up like a package on their front doorstep. And like, here's your purpose. And my experience has been, and I used to be one of those people. So I'm not knocking anybody. I would walk around going, I don't know what my purpose is. What should I be doing in my life? I know there is something, but I don't know what it is. And I really believe now that finding your purpose has to do with taking action. So even if you don't know, like, what's your overarching purpose? What are you being drawn to explore? What interests you? And take a step towards that. And just take, is it learning pickleball? I mean, it could be anything. Reading a book. Did a specific topic catch your eye and you want to read more about that? Just take those little steps towards whatever interests you, what attracts you. And I think from there, you'll start uncovering more things, and it will ultimately lead you to understanding or to finding your purpose. But sitting around waiting and just trying to think about it,
right,
is not the best way to find it. Yeah,
Yeah, that reminds me of The Secret years ago. The missing link was that inspired action piece. You kind of thought by watching that, I can sit in my living room and meditate, and this new position is just going to come knocking on my door. And you're right. If you don't take some inspired action, even something really small, Chance you might get there. Yeah, you might get lucky, but chances are you need to put a little, shoe leather behind it or just do something.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's the combination. It's the meditation and putting the intention, visualization, which to me is a form of meditation. Not all meditation is visualization.
Yeah.
But visualization, meditation, combining that with taking what you just said, inspired action. So that's different than just doing a million things because somebody told you got to do a million things. And this comes back to having that clear channel to be able to hear what is the inspired action I should be taking.
Yeah, I think so many people, what is this new trend about quiet quitting? I've heard about it. I'm not actually sure what it is, but to me, it's kind of like re-examining, what do I want to do in life? Is this job really my passion, or do I hate it and it aggravates me every day when I go to it? I think more people are saying, I'm going to live with less. I don't need as much money. I'm going to scale down my lifestyle to pursue my passion. And I think if we can create a generation of that kind of attitude, I just think the world will be a happier place if we can get enough people to really pursue their passions.
I agree with you on the points that people, it behooves everybody to find what lights them up and to do that. The scaling down and living with less, I don't necessarily agree with, because that to me is a scarcity mindset. I'm going to call you out on it.
That's a good point. You're right.
And we can have as much as we'd like to have. Just because you're pursuing your passion or following your bliss doesn't mean you have to settle for anything less than if you were working a job that you hate but is paying you well.
I think there is a fine differentiation there to being willing to need less coming in for the freedom of being freer to be in the silence and spirit and create and co-produce. That's where Leslie and I have been living most of the time since we met. It's like we both turned down huge opportunities for somebody else to profit from our co-creativity, knowing that if we keep on keeping on, how may we serve, how may we bless, how can we repurpose our work, other people's work, how can we meet people like Lori and find ways to collaborate and expand our ability to help others realize more of their inherent potential and discover their purpose. The law of compensation will surely reward us, right? Because we're being rewarded right now. The largest Facebook group we have was titled Mindfulness and Meditation when it was gifted to us. And we added the word gratitude. And it occurs to me, as you were talking earlier, that of those three words, gratitude is the only one that doesn't push buttons, because meditation, ooh.
That's true.
Ooh, but gratitude, that is the heart of spiritual living, right?
That's interesting. It's interesting that observation or that, I don't know what fact, like, it's just, that gratitude. And that's why gratitude is that first piece of my trilogy for success, is getting into that place where you can come from a heart of gratitude or from a viewpoint.
So gratitude, connection, what was the third?
Courage.
Speak about courage.
So let's say you learn how to live and come from this place of gratitude. You're seeing the world through eyes of gratitude now. You have this connection to your family, your friends, yourself, your higher power. And now you need the courage to do the thing that you know you need to do. So going right back to what you were just talking about, having the courage to say, I'm going to pursue what lights me up and not continue doing this job that I really don't enjoy, even though it's paying me well, or maybe it's not even paying you. You're just doing it because that's what you think you have to do. That's what you've been conditioned to do. You're doing it because it makes your parents happy, whatever reason. Having the courage to then say, no, this is not fulfilling for me. I'm going to go do the thing that does light me up, that does fulfill me, that does take my life from this place of everything's fine, A lot of people live there. Fine. It's fine. It's fine. To a place that is joyful and energetic and fantastic or fabulous. If you want to get into using all the, that find a fantastic. Right?
So what's your ultimate vision of your life purpose, your legacy leaving accomplishments, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, it's helping people find this joy so that more people can come from living in this place of joy. So that place of coming from being grounded and calm all the time, the ultimate reason for that is to then find that inner joy and live from that place. And just, I mean, I believe we're here as humans to have fun, to have experiences.
What was that word? The
fun?
Fun. We're supposed to have fun.
Yeah.
I actually had to have a fun coach a few years ago. I worked with a lady, partnered with a lady who'd been in Disneyland at 19 and had a children's marionette theater, and my children would send her thank you notes for teaching me how to have fun. But Leslie still struggles with me with that sometimes because I'm so focused on purpose, right? And accomplishment and making up, atoning for all the years that I wasted, right?
Yeah.
So
well, that's not unusual either, Charles, because I've had so many conversations with friends and with clients that they don't know what fun is anymore. They're so busy living this life of being responsible and doing the things that they think they're supposed to be doing that they're not having fun. And when you say, well, how could you incorporate more fun into your life? They don't know what's fun anymore. And again, I look at myself. I was there too. What is fun? I just got back. I took the whole month of August and did a road trip sabbatical with a 19-year-old cat, because I was in that place where I was like, I'm just doing all the things every day, doing all the things that I think I'm supposed to be doing to make my business successful, and I'm not having fun.
Yeah.
And I need to take some time off and some time away to allow and to have fun.
Well, I might go back into that Facebook group and throw fun on the end of it and see what happens. Right?
I bet that will inspire a lot of really interesting conversations.
Especially these days, and with the global pandemic, so many people are going through reassessing who we are, why we're here, what we came here to be doing, manifest stewardship over. But I want to go back to that question that when I don't have this virtual backdrop, I have a bookcase full of primarily the forthcoming programs and publications that Leslie and I are stewarding. And 14 of them are standalone titles for fulfilling your ultimate destiny, fulfilling your life purpose. And 10 of the titles came from an internet quiz asking people to define what does ultimate destiny mean to you? Who are some examples of people who are living that? What would your life be like if you were living that? And the second part of the question I want to ask you is, how might others like us be of value in helping you scale up what you're presently involved with to be able to reach more, serve more, bless more, prosper more, collaborate?
That's a good question. I mean, it comes down to having audiences to share, to put this information in front of, and not just audiences that are interested, that are open and ready for it. Because I talk a lot too about, using gratitude and meditation in business to, as an additional tool for hard work. Because we're in this society that tells us that hard work is the key to success, and it's not the only thing. So what else? And the I'm not here to teach. I'm not here to convince people that meditation and gratitude are things. Like, if you don't believe that it's a thing, then you're not my ideal client. There are people, and that's okay. Maybe they're not ready. That's okay. They're on their own journey and path, but I'm not going to try and convince them that it's a thing. So when I come back to the whole answering your question about the audience, creating audiences to share information with, like this show, those audiences are ready.
Yeah, the toughest marketing lesson for me to learn, it was primarily from Jeff Walker about the fourth time I went through product launch formula, was sell your customer what they want and stop trying to sell them what you know or believe they need, and give them what they need, right?
Right. Sell them what they want,
Yeah.
give them what they need.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not authentic though, is it? Because if you're really coming from your authentic self, you're sharing your gifts with the world. You're sharing what you do best, whatever that may be, you know. So I do think it's important for people to know what they love. You know, Abraham Hicks calls it being turned on and tuned in or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought such a great statement, because not everyone's going to resonate with that. But the people that do really resonate with it a lot. They really are, you know, turned on by that, and that whole, with like-minded people, it just really lifts you up. And you know, that's just the thing, growing your audience through whatever tools that you have. You know, we just started the podcasting thing. Was it May, Charles? I think we started that.
Seems like last week, you know.
Time flies
So we've
when
got
you're having
about
fun.
5 or 6 months, and it's been a great journey. And from what I read, the best way to grow a podcast is just to be persistent and to keep sharing your passion, you know, not hook up with some big marketing agency that can help you share it or whatever, because really it's best if you home grow it, is kind of the, you know, what I kind of look at it as, and do that with some authenticity and not just spitting stuff out because you think that might be really hot for an audience, you know, that I don't think would come across well.
Yeah. To Charles's point, though, from a marketing standpoint, people often don't know what they need. They know what they want. You know, was Henry Ford, if he had asked his customers what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse, because they just didn't know that an auto was a thing, that like even could be a thing.
Yeah.
It's the same with the iPhone. Like people didn't know that could even, it was beyond their realm of imagination.
Yeah.
And so giving them what they want, which is a faster, let's call it vehicle, and they don't know whether it's a horse or a truck or an airplane. So I don't think it's disingenuous to give them what they want. You have to help them recognize that you're solving a problem that they think they have, and then giving them what they need, because you see the bigger picture, but they don't see it yet.
Well, that was part of why it took me so long to accept that wisdom, not just from Jeff, but so many others, because I've been on this journey for 50, 60 years. Mother gave me the power of positive thinking when I was 16, praying something would get through to her wayward child, right? And the first major event I produced a few years later was with Norman Vincent Peale and Les Brown. You know, I didn't quite make the connection until later. But I'd rather work with 12 people who are in resonance than 1,200 who just show up, right? Mm-hmm. And I also have learned that for that other 1,190 or whatever the number is, I'm happy to make referrals. You know, I've got thousands of resources, whether it's the passion test or the purpose quiz or the core selfie infrastructure to help them find their way wherever their path is going to take them based upon the level of allowance, right?
Right.
So my ultimate vision, and Leslie's, we're part of this, is the establishment of a fully accredited international university for successful living with an international network of locally initiated centers for successful living or colleges for successful living by whatever language is appropriate and discerned by the local participants to deliver whatever content in whatever way, like whether it's a F rating or not, whatever's appropriate for their community, to help people awaken to who we are, what we came here to be, do, and have stewardship over. So it's personal, professional, organizational, community development, personal, planetary stewardship. It's the facilitation of that. So our books, our programs, our courses, our podcasts, everything is just a part of allowing that to come forth in its own time, like meeting you and finding the next puzzle piece. That generally it's more often, how might we bless you, than how could you serve us, right?
It's a give and take. It goes both ways.
It is, if the parties are both coming from that instead of trying to get, you probably have run across a few people who can only think about, how am I going to sell this? How I'm going to get my pitch in, me, what's in it for me, WIFM radio. So that's why it's so thrilling that we get to play and participate and co-create with people like you in this venue, thanks to Leslie, and launching 4 podcasts in a short period of time with 5,000 downloads so far, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we have 3 so far, but we're toying around with some sort of interview style podcast for next year.
And you are the second guest in the interview experiment. So
yeah,
I'm thrilled about who we have allowed and attracted or been sucked into your vortex to be spending this quality time with you.
Yeah, I'm really grateful that we made this connection. And this is what happens when you allow.
Yeah.
It just keeps proving itself, if it needs to prove, but proving itself to me that this is the best way to operate. And it's so much more fun. Going back to the fun, it's much more fun to operate from this place of allowing and seeing what shows up, and just being surprised and using the word coincidence, but even though I don't, I use that word in quotes because, but it's just awesome is the word I will use. And I hope I never am not in finding the awesomeness in these experiences.
Yeah. Well, I've spent most of the last 99 days contributing to and facilitating programs for the 99 Days of Peace through Unity. And I have not yet had time to do much more than just glance at your website that Leslie shared with us. So I'd really appreciate an opportunity from you to spend a couple minutes just sharing with us and the audience presently, and those who will be blessed to watch the recording, how many ways do you provide programs, products, and services that we could partake of, that others could partake of, or that we could contribute to? Like, are you doing podcasts, programs, publications, coaching? How many ways could we help you help reach more people?
Yeah, I have the F Being Fine program is a group program, small group right now. I have done private client work before. I also do workshops for companies, whether it's their sales team or their team overall, depending on the size of the organization, coming in, doing workshops. I have one that I especially love called The Truth About High Performers and Hard Work, which I referenced a little bit earlier about this myth that hard work is the key to success, and breaking that down and showing them some other tools that they can incorporate, the ones we've talked about, into their sales process, into doing the work. And so speaking from stages, oh my gosh, I love, this is my thing. Give me a microphone. I started college as a broadcast major. Microphone.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
So being a guest on podcasts like yours lights me up. Speaking on stages, whether it's an in-person event or virtual, I prefer in-person because the energy exchange is different.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to do virtual as well. And then I host my own podcast as well, which is called Fine is a 4-letter word.
Oh, I like that. And you lit up a little bit when you talked about the corporate training, and I just heard that wrapping a little bit around that hard work with the global pandemic, even in challenging times, that could be useful. When I mentioned Les Brown and Noma Vincent Peale, I had been a disaster relief specialist in what is now FEMA for 6 years, and then I was asked to go and work in some national disasters, man-made, terrible communities. And in one of those, it was so bad that the psychologists and psychiatrists were treating negativity and depression. And the bumper sticker said, last one out, turn off the lights, right? So I was asked to come in and try to turn that around. And I brought in Norman Vincent Peale on the power of positive thinking and Les Brown on Got to Be Hungry. And to do that, I founded a speakers bureau and transitioned it to an empowerment, community-oriented speakers bureau, and produced multiple events with Les Brown, Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, Mark Victor Hansen, in a town of 25,000 people, a county of less than 100,000, and developed a model to let small communities do that. Now, T. Harv Eker kind of destroyed or blew up the model, the Speakers Bureau model, with buy my $24 book and here are two $1,500 tickets, right? Where we're going to sell you a $30,000 product.
I was in that audience.
But we're moving back into the model. In fact, I just spent 4 hours with Mark Victor Hansen in the video where Mark and Crystal, his new wife, and her son are launching an in-person event-based program in Scottsdale, Arizona. So we're not in Scottsdale, we're south of Chicago, but I bet you've got some agenda items that would be useful for you to share with us so that when we start booking events, you'd be happy to show up and be part of the faculty.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. I just did, last week I was doing an event in Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh, wow.
I talked about how to make good decisions.
Was that in person or was that a virtual event?
It was in person.
Wow, that must have been thrilling.
It was.
Have you been doing in-person events, or was that the first for a while?
I did the same conference I did last year, but it was a different presentation. It was about the fine is a 4-letter word. I mean, that's the name of my podcast, but then I also have a presentation on that as well.
Well, please share whatever you got that you would share when you're making a pitch or presentation for any of your services. What about online courses? Do you have any evergreen courses or things that could go to scale with facilitators?
I'm working on some of those right now.
Well, we should talk about that too. We've gone through a number of the course building courses. I went through Marisa Marigard's training last year. She has the best experiential components, and now her husband has brought out Experience-Fi, the platform where we've already invested, we've already paid for them to develop our first course. We just haven't figured out which one of 7 or 8 that are in the can already are the ones to go. But just the multifaceted approach, as you know, from a marketing perspective, is just ideal.
Yeah. I'd like to create the F Being Fine program as an evergreen thing. So, or maybe evergreen with the mixed in with the interaction piece, because ultimately I'd like to create a year-long mastermind, if mastermind is even the right word, but some kind of ongoing program.
It really is more than just a quick training program. If you really want to transform somebody's life, it does require a commitment that might be longer than 3 months, because it's almost like coaching someone. You're not going to get there with just 2 or 3 coaching sessions. It's probably going to be at least 6 to 12 for someone to really stick with it and learn, shift their thinking.
Well, it's easy to fall back into old habits.
Yeah.
And so having that ongoing interaction and reminder about when you start to slip back in, then that's when you have another session, like maybe the interactive pieces are scheduled every 2 weeks or twice a month, whatever it is. And so just when you're getting to the end of that 2 weeks, you get, back into the interaction part and you go, oh yeah, that's right. I remember now. And then and over time it becomes your new habit, but it takes a while to get there. And replacing, you can't, it's hard, difficult for people to say, all right, I'm going to stop doing this bad habit without replacing it with something that fills that void.
Yes.
And if you're surrounded by negative people at work or wherever, that kind of brings you down too.
Yeah. I mean, I took this sabbatical because I was used to sitting in front of my computer from 9 o'clock in the morning, taking a break, maybe around 6 or 7 to go to the gym, come back, make dinner, get back in front of the computer and turn it off at 11 o'clock before I go to bed. That's not healthy. And draining. I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that. And so I never wake up refreshed. And so I took this sabbatical, and after a month of allowing these amazing things to happen, and I think that might've actually been when my virtual assistant reached out to you, was when I was there on that. This connection happened while I was out of town. And then coming back. Okay. So I'm out on the road doing this stuff, visiting friends, sitting on the beach, enjoying life. Then I have to come back to where I live. And how do I maintain that sabbatical sense of sabbatical when I'm back in my old environment?
That's a tough one. Did you say you went on the trip with your cat?
19-year-old.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so 19-year-old cat, you said?
Yes.
Wow. Normally cats don't like to travel like that. Did she enjoy it?
She was an amazing, amazing cat. And that's why I knew I could take her on this trip. She had been on a couple others before with me, but with our other cat, so they're both, they've both now passed on. So that just happened 2 weeks ago with her. That's another part of the reason though, why I knew this trip was very important for both of us. Yeah. So
what a great gift that you gave her.
Yes, exactly.
Honestly.
See, now I'm going to tear up, but that trip, I knew she was a good traveler to start with. Not every cat is going to be able to do 3,500 miles in a car and be chill about it. But that's also part of the reason why she lived to be 19, was because she was a chill cat. I've written a few times social media posts on what you can 5 lessons or something like that. 5 lessons you can learn from a 19-year-old cat or an 18-year-old cat, or however she was when I wrote it. But one of those things was about nothing, don't let anything phase you. Just it's okay. It's okay. Not to not have emotions, but just to not let them derail you and set you off.
Yeah, I almost think, Charles, we need a set of blessisms to have more fun and to live with a lighter and brighter attitude.
Yes. Oh, that's good.
That reminds me when I think I still have the book somewhere. It was the Big Book of Fun, and it was a huge book. I don't even know what was in it. It was activities for kids, I guess. But it's we almost need something like that. Just as a reminder that, it's okay to have fun and to laugh. When my son comes home, he's in college right now. We spend so much time laughing because we laugh about the same things. We do funny voices, and he's got a bunch of stuffed animals that we've named. And, it's just really stupid stuff, but we just laugh together. And so that's such a gift, just to be able to lighten somebody's mood up, that he tends to be a very serious person. And so anytime I can get him to laugh and lighten up is just such a win-win,
100%. And that raises your vibration, both of your vibration, which has a ripple effect on raising the vibration of the rest of the world as well.
Right.
So it feels good in the moment. And just all of these benefits. But that book of fun, there's an idea of a book of fun for adults. I wonder what was in that book for kids, but could it be applied to adults?
I have to dig it out. I think you could even do a card deck on that. Just ways to have fun and remember that it's not complicated. It could just be watching a funny movie, or, be fun to think of things to have fun. And we really need to lighten up as a society. I need to lighten up. I'm a very serious person. Oh, the Mad Libs. We used to take those on road trips. Yeah, those were great.
Speaking of fun, I found that in a box of stuff I had packed away.
Yeah. So I don't want to forget, you also on your website talked about your midlife transformation and your journey. Is there anything you want to share about your journey and what kind of tools you use to pull yourself out of that?
Yeah. Well, meditation, what you're talking about, the transformation, I'll just say, is I left a marriage after 22 years. We'd been together for 28. So pretty much all of my adult life, and everything was fine. It was fine. And I could have continued to live. We could have both continued to live that way for the rest of our lives. And that was not what that's not what my soul wanted.
Yeah.
And so I found the courage to take the initiative, even though we both knew the relationship wasn't serving us. I was the one that took the initiative to say, all right, we let's not do this anymore.
Takes a lot of courage. Yeah.
Yeah. Moved across the country.
Oh, wow.
With the 2 cats, and see, this was part of their trip. And then moved back a year later because I just needed to get the perspective. And then I moved back because Virginia to me is home. And so but the tools you asked about were meditation for the most part, meditation and reflection. And, we're talking about positive psychology, but also allowing myself to feel the emotions that I felt. They were horrible to move. Like, they were hard and ugly. And when you allow, you can move through them faster because, what you resist persists. And a lot of people don't want to feel those anger, frustration, guilt, shame, all of those things that you have to go through to get to the other side.
Yeah. You can't push it down and pretend it's not there. You have to just walk through it.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the same time, you can still find gratitude in that. The gratitude is that I have amazing friends who helped me, who would answer the phone when I was crying or whatever it was, show up and go to brunch with me. Finding the gratitude doesn't mean denying the emotions.
Right. You can find gratitude in pain. That, what has it taught me?
Yeah, those are great points right there for titles of content.
We have a lot of blessings about just being grateful for difficulties and challenges. Look how much I've learned. Look at the tools I have now that I probably didn't have before. So you're right. It's not just about being grateful for the happy, touchy feely. That's wonderful, but also for the bad stuff you've been through. Look at the journey you've been through, and you're now on the other side. But you're probably still grateful that you had a long marriage because you probably had a lot of good things that came out of it. There's always some gratitude, even in the pain and the hard times, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. That if you, again, looking for, you will find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking for things to be grateful for, you will find them regardless of what the situation looks like or how it feels. There's always elements of gratitude in there that you can uncover.
Especially if you're connected and you have the courage to process it and allow it to come forth, right?
Yeah. And I think this is one of the places where when you can make people aware of the fact that it is possible to do this, showing them the possibilities, because people can live in this place and just not that they don't want to be grateful. They just don't know how to do it.
Right.
How do I find that gratitude? Because this situation looks really dark. And so when you help them start to see how to even find it, how to look for it.
Well, I think that the fact that negativity sells and that there are 999 examples on the media, even the social media, of relationships that didn't work, and this is all about the crap compared to the one or two that are the positive success stories. Right?
Yeah, we have to amplify those voices.
Do you know about Humanity Rising that was founded by Jim Garrison of Ubiquity University?
No.
For 500 and maybe 50 days, initially 7 days a week when the pandemic hit, he started offering a 90 to 120 minute Zoom webinar every day. HumanityRising.solutions is a website, and I can send that out too. And it has just been there have been 1,400 presenters over that period of time. There's a database of all of those presentations that's keyword searchable. And it's been, for the last probably year and a half, 5 days a week, 2 hours a day, plus an after chat with a small group that actually process. And I brought that up because they're in the process of generating $15 million to expand it to 24 hours a day with 12 channels to produce the positive examples in every aspect of life, right? So talk about audiences. There's a built-in audience, and I'm happy to further introduce you to those resources and bring you into that community.
Yeah, that would be fabulous. Thank you. And then the one thing I forgot to mention when you were asking about what else is on my website is, can't believe I forgot this, but I create customized meditations.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I take people, I have a questionnaire that I have people fill out, and I have them go through things that they've had in the past that they're grateful for, things they currently have in their life they're grateful for, and then the things they're manifesting or their goals they are looking to achieve if manifesting doesn't resonate with people, and take them through visualizing, not just visualizing, but actually feeling, because we know that it's not just imagining the thing, it's feeling.
Right.
Feeling as if you already have it. And that's what I do with these meditations. And then I put healing frequency music underneath them.
Do you have a membership structure, a sponsorship structure, an affiliate program, any of those things yet? Okay. But you're open because you want to expand the scale, right? Okay. Well,
yeah, I'm thinking about how to create a membership program, what it would entail.
Well, you open to some further subsequent conversations around collaboration with the three of us? We can just brainstorm. You do a little flip chart work, and
that would be fantastic.
Let some divine design be revealed and realized. I'm excited and grateful about the opportunity.
Yes, so am I. Thank you.
I still want.
No, this has been great. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll get your address because it's baking season now.
All right,
it's cooling down a little bit, and I can turn the oven on.
Well, this thing that I mentioned yesterday could be, the gentleman has, his background is architecture and advertising. He's in New York City, and he's been working with 2 of the 6 individuals who control the whole globe of advertising. And he has a vision of how some small fraction of 1% of every transaction on currency exchanges every day can generate trillions of dollars for the earth. And provide the solution, the resources for all these solutions, and to come out with the indigenous peoples and natural products. It could just be the opportunity for Gratitude Cookie to just reach the world. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, this has been almost as delicious for me as a Gratitude Cookie. Right? So I'll let the 2 of you wrap it up. And I'm just grateful that you let me be a participant, a contributor, an observer. I mean, this has been very rich. I would pay for this opportunity for this hour, right?
Thank you.
So how long have you had your podcast?
May of 2021.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
I am publishing, new episodes come out on Thursdays. We're just wrapping up in a couple weeks, season 2, 72 episodes.
Nice. So are these interviews? I'll have to listen to a couple of them.
The majority of them are interviews. I'm interviewing people about a time when they were in a place where they said everything was fine, but it really wasn't fine.
Yeah.
And what does that look like? And how did they move through that and get to where they are now?
Wow. Yeah, I'll have to listen to some of those.
And most of season 1, the bonus episode, which was a separate piece of it, there was a bonus meditation that I created.
So nice.
50 meditations.
Yeah.
Well, we might start on the affiliate program, because as we're rolling out the 101 publications that we have in various stages from published to God knows they'll eventually come forth maybe before we graduate from this life, but I'd see a lot of opportunities where we could just refer to you or to your program or your customization of the meditations, whatever it might be.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be fantastic. Well, I so appreciate this conversation.
Yeah, me too. This has been really enlightening.
Well, thank your VA. I mean, good job. I didn't see that communication, but
she's amazing.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's really tough when you're a company of 1 or 2 people. You really want to. I like that of a virtual assistant, because it's affordable, but it yet frees you up to do other things that that you enjoy doing. So
yeah. And right, gives me the freedom to do the things that really I enjoy, which is conversations like this.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. This has been fantastic. I appreciate you taking the hour out of your day and having some fun with us.
Yes, my pleasure. Absolutely.
Well, I just thought of my first volunteer for having more fun, and that is stepping back, taking a little internal sabbatical. Maybe it's not going anywhere except making the time to look at everything we have in various stages of development and find those that can be shared with the world, right? Whether it's the card deck or the podcast or the publications or the courses. If we've paid for it all, we've created it. It'll really be fun to have it reach more people and, to have the capacity for the VAs, whatever else we wanted to do.
Right.
Have great.
So mining for gold almost,
There you go. Finding the fun.
All right.
Thank you, Lori.
Well, thank you so much, Lori.
Thank you. Take good care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.